Hello?
What are you doing?
Who is this?
Don't worry about who it is. I can see you.
How many fingers I got up?
2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. Wait, stop. What are you
You
doing?
can't see me. Where you at? You want to play hide and seek? I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
You have really got
I'm
to
gonna
be kidding me.
find you
Wow.
and make you want
I
me.
don't want to play hide and seek.
You is too hostile with me, baby. This is not romantical. You called me to see how I was doing. You was worried about my well-being, boo. It's crazy how we got to get into our first argument and we just started talking today. So what you like to do for
You
fun?
know what? Enough is enough.
Hello.
Now
Girl,
what
it's
happened?
crazy. So much been going on. Girl, I ran him over, and ran him over with a car.
What?
Yep. Am I wrong though? Like, should I? Am I
No,
wrong?
I mean, he shouldn't have been in front of the car.
Right. That's what I
Hello,
exactly.
what you
That's what
doing?
I
Walking in front of a car?
Right. I also slashed his tires and his mama's
Right.
tires too. I did that. I did all of that.
What?
At his house.
His mama cut. No.
Should I apologize?
Apologize for what? For what?
Because I was just
He
thinking.
needs to be apologizing for you.
True. Right.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking
No,
too.
you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Toledo police say a pregnant woman is dead after a shooting in South Toledo. According to the report, it happened on Norton Place near Reynolds and Airport around 5 this morning. Officers got a call about a person shot. When they got to the scene, they found the pregnant woman, Tameisha Price, suffering from at least one gunshot wound. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene.
A woman is 8.5 months pregnant. She's already picked out her daughter's name. The nurse is basically done. And before the sun comes up, someone walks into her home and ends both of their lives at once. Her sons are in the house when it happens. One of them sees the person running away, and the perpetrator planned the whole thing? He's the same man who was supposed to be that baby's father. This is the story of Tameisha Price. And by the end of this, you're going to wonder how someone can plan to erase a life that hasn't even started yet. Welcome to Homicide Crime Files, where we tell the stories that don't always make national news, but absolutely should. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because these are the cases that remind us how close danger can sometimes be to our home. Let's get into it. Tameisha Price. Friends and family called her Meisha. Born May 22, 1989, in Toledo, Ohio, and from everything people said about her after she was gone, she was the kind of person who made other people's lives easier just by being in them. She went to Rogers High School and Apostolic Christian Academy, then went on to Herzing University for credentials in the medical field. She worked in youth development programs, helped run things at charter schools, eventually becoming a lead case manager for a community youth program. People she worked with said she genuinely cared, not the kind of cared you put on a resume. The real thing. Her faith mattered to her too. She grew up in church, was part of the choir, did praise dancing, acted in church productions, and outside of all that, she loved traveling, fashion, photography, normal stuff, the stuff that makes someone feel like a real person and not just a name in a headline. But more than anything, she was a mom. At the time of her death, Tameisha had 2 sons, Jaden Price Wilson and Leslie Richardson, and she was about to have a 3rd child, a daughter. She'd already named her, Malaysia Leonie Price. Think about that for a second. She had already picked a name for a baby she hadn't met yet. That's not just excitement. That's a mother already building a relationship with a child before that child takes a single breath. By all accounts, she was surrounded by people who loved her, parents, brothers, extended family, friends, a full support system. The kind of life that on paper looks safe. But here's the thing about danger. It doesn't always come from a stranger. Sometimes it's already sitting at your kitchen table. Before we go further, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you ever had a gut feeling about someone close to you and just talked yourself out of it? Maybe brushed it off because it felt easier than dealing with it? Keep that question in mind, because it's going to matter later. Now let's talk about Paris James. Tameisha had been in a relationship with Paris James, and according to investigators, he was believed to be the father of her unborn daughter. On the surface, that's just a relationship. People have complicated relationships all the time. Nothing unusual about that. Except court documents later revealed that James disputed whether he was actually the father of that unborn child. Sit with that for a second. A woman is 8.5 months pregnant. She has named her daughter. She is preparing to bring this child into the world. And the man involved is, according to investigators, disputing whether the baby is even his. Prosecutors would later argue that instead of dealing with that situation like an adult, James chose something else entirely, something far more permanent. And there's another name that enters the picture here, Tameisha Price, described in court records as James's live-in girlfriend. So, just to make sure we're all tracking this correctly, James is in a relationship with Tameisha, who is about to have his child. He's also living with another woman. And according to authorities, that other woman would later try to help cover for him after Tameisha was killed. If your stomach just turned a little, mine did too when I first read this. Here's where I need you to do something for me. If this story is hitting you the way it's hitting me right now, hit that subscribe button before we go any further. Not because I need the number to go up, but because stories like this are how we learn to spot the patterns before it's too late for someone we actually know. Okay, let's talk about January 24th, 2024. At approximately 4:48 in the morning, Toledo police got a call. Shots fired at a residence on Norton Place in South Toledo. When officers got there, they found Tameisha suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene, and because she was 8.5 months pregnant, her unborn daughter, Malaysia, died too. The Lucas County coroner ruled Tameisha's death a homicide from multiple gunshot wounds. A separate death certificate was issued for Malaysia. Her cause of death was listed as complications resulting from her mother's gunshot wounds. 2 death certificates, 1 crime scene. And here's something that I think gets lost when we talk about cases like this. Tameisha's sons were in that house. Trial testimony later revealed that they heard the gunfire. One of them reportedly saw a suspect running away afterward. These are kids who woke up to gunshots in their own home. Kids who, in some way, witnessed the moment their mother and their unborn sister were taken from them. I don't think there's anything I can say that fully captures what that does to a child, so I'm not going to try. I just want you to sit with it for a second, because it matters. In the beginning, this case looked like it might just become another unsolved shooting. Another name added to a list. Police didn't release much information right away, and for a while it seemed like the story might just fade. But that's not what happened, because as detectives started digging, a much different story started to take shape, and what they found wasn't random at all. According to police affidavits, investigators gathered witness statements, surveillance footage, and digital records. And all of it started pointing in one direction, toward Paris James. Investigators alleged that James had orchestrated the killing, not a crime of passion, not something that happened in the heat of the moment. Prosecutors said this was planned, a targeted execution of a woman who was just weeks away from giving birth. But James, according to authorities, didn't act alone. A second man entered the picture, Jerry Scott. Prosecutors alleged that Scott participated in both the planning and the execution of the crime. The investigation suggested Scott played a direct, hands-on role in the attack itself. So, now you've got 2 men allegedly involved in planning the death of a pregnant woman. And remember, Tameisha Price, James's live-in girlfriend? Investigators accused her of obstructing justice, allegedly providing false information about where James was at the time of the murder. Prosecutors claimed she tried to build him an alibi. A web of people, all allegedly working to either carry out this murder or cover it up afterward. Here's something I want you to think about. If you're watching this and you've ever stayed quiet about something you saw, something that didn't sit right, because speaking up felt complicated, this is what silence can protect. Not always, but sometimes, and that's worth sitting with. By late February of 2024, authorities had secured warrants for both men. Paris James eventually turned himself in. Jerry Scott was also arrested. Both men were hit with multiple counts of aggravated murder connected to the deaths of both Tameisha and Malaysia. But getting them arrested was only the beginning, because now this case had to go to trial. And trials take time. For Tameisha's family, that meant living with this for over a year before they'd see any kind of resolution. The case finally went to trial in 2025. Prosecutors laid out their argument that this murder had been carefully planned, and that part of the motivation came down to that dispute over paternity. A baby girl named Malaysia, whose existence allegedly became something to eliminate rather than something to embrace. The trial included evidence gathered throughout the investigation. But the most gut-wrenching part? The testimony from Tameisha's sons. These are the same boys who heard the gunfire that morning. The same boys, one of whom reportedly saw someone fleeing the scene. Now they're sitting in a courtroom, having to recount what they heard and saw the night their mother and unborn sister were killed. I want you to imagine being a kid, asked to relive the worst morning of your life, in front of a room full of strangers, because the legal system requires it. That's not something any child should have to do. But it's also, in cases like this, often the only way the truth gets told. In July of 2025, the jury reached its verdict: guilty. Both Paris James and Jerry Scott were found guilty in connection with the murders of Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia. Later that same month, a judge handed down the sentence. Both men received consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The judge described the crime as among the worst forms of violence imaginable. Consecutive life sentences, meaning these men will not see freedom again. Not for Tameisha, not for Malaysia.
Two men have been sentenced to life for the 2024 murder of a pregnant woman and her unborn child. Tameisha Price was just about 1 month away from her due date for her daughter Malaysia when she was shot and killed in her home.
This is the worst form of violence that could possibly occur.
James's defense attorney asked Judge Eric Allen Marks to consider a possibility for a second chance, asking for a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 20 years.
In this sentencing, we're not asking for leniency, but we are asking the court to consider the possibility of redemption. Mr. James comes before this court as a young man with a limited criminal history.
And Scott's did the same, saying this is a tragic case, leaving a family not having two loved ones, something that Scott's family will now experience.
Now Mr. Scott's family is going to feel the same penalty as they're going to lose Mr. Scott in their life for a period of time.
But Judge Marks spoke of the harm brought to the family that no longer has Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia Liani. A victim advocate read letters from Price's parents who wrote about her excitement to have a baby girl.
She talked about Malaysia and that she would probably play sports because she was very active. She talked about Malaysia playing with her brothers and how they would spoil their baby sister. She talked about having a planned sleepovers, Girl Scout, family trips to Hawaii, and so many things concerning Malaysia.
Price also leaves behind two sons, and her parents say they are taking care of them.
We will spend the rest of our lives making sure they are rebuilt and restored from the terrible memories these people have created.
Consecutive life sentences, meaning these men will not see freedom again. Not for Tameisha, not for Malaysia. But here's the thing about sentences like this. They bring a kind of closure to the legal side of the story. They don't bring back a mother. They don't bring back a baby girl who never got to take a single breath outside her mother's body. If you've made it this far, I want to ask you something. We talked earlier about gut feelings, about red flags people sometimes ignore. If you're someone who's never subscribed to a channel like this before, because you didn't think it mattered, I'd genuinely like to know why in the comments. Not to argue, I just think it's worth saying out loud, even to yourself. Today, Tameisha Price is remembered not for how her life ended, but for how she lived it. Friends, family, church leaders, former co-workers, they all describe the same person. Warm, faithful, someone who showed up for other people. She left behind 2 sons who lost their mother and the baby sister they were supposed to meet. To Tameisha's family, to Jaden and Leslie, and to everyone who loved her and Malaysia, we see you, we hear you, and we will not forget either of them. Thank you for watching this all the way to the end. I'll see you in our next true crime story.